joining us is Galaxy. Today we're looking at Senate President Bukola Saraki and the Code of Conduct Tribunal ruling on the program today. Joining us in the Lagos studios this afternoon, we have two legal practitioners, legal luminaries I like to to call them, Barrister Shakiru Omodele and Barrister Omolaja. Barrister Shakiru Omolaja and Barrister Ikechukwu Ikeji. Good afternoon, sirs.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon.
Thank you for joining us on the program today. Also, we have on standby a guest from Ibadan and Abuja studios. We'll be getting to that in a bit. But let me start with you, Barrister Omolaja. Let's look at the ruling. This has garnered some mixed reactions from last week when this ruling, became public. As a legal practitioner, what is your take, really, on this?
Let me speak like a Nigerian. I feel pained. I am not happy. I haven't said that. Legally speaking, because I have been going over the ruling of the tribunal over and over, and they are saying the case presented by the prosecution, no reasonable tribunal can convict on it. Okay. Now, I am pained to say that with all the resources available to the prosecution, could it be said that they failed to put up a prima facie case, not even establishing the guilt of Saraki now, to say, look, we have built a case strong enough for him to be called upon to come and defend himself. So I am a little disappointed that Saraki seems to have gotten away so lightly. Let me repeat, please. I am pained that, because a court only says, or oppose the objection to say no case submission in the following circumstances. When the case of the prosecution has been so discredited under cross-examination, when the evidence adduced is so poor, is so manifestly unreliable, that no reasonable tribunal can convict on such
anybody
evidence.
Based on, in fact, that's one of the reasons. There's no, they couldn't establish a sound evidence against.
No, that is as far as the chairman or the tribunal is concerned, because it's a concurring judgment, the chairman and the member of the chairman. Now, we are talking of 4 witnesses here. We are talking of a total of 48 exhibits. What happened? How can we now say with 48 exhibits, with 4 witnesses, it is not good enough for Saraki to be called upon to defend himself? And honestly, now going back to speaking like a Nigerian, I think Saraki is only establishing that it's so big that it seems to be above the law. I am therefore saying I am not in total agreement with the conclusion of the tribunal that with 48 exhibits, with 4 witnesses, the case was so bad that Saraki will not even be given the opportunity, or let me say, we will not be called upon to even come and defend yourself.
Okay,
so that's my take.
Let us bring into the discussion, aside from the way Barrister Omolaja feels, some other legal practitioners have come to say that it was actually a good one. Specifically, let me quote what Mike Ezokeme's son said. He said that CCT headed by Omar Danladi was bold, courageous, and right in spite of visible executive interference and manipulation to have discharged and acquitted Senate President Dr. Bukola Saraki and all this count of false declarations of assets leveled against him. Do you really agree with what he has posited so far?
Well, empirically speaking, it may be difficult to say that I know of any executive interference. It may exist, yes, this is politics, but empirically speaking. So I would be safer to avoid the one of the issue of influence, either from the government or from Saraki, and restrict myself to the comments, strictly speaking, on law.
Okay.
If you read the judgment of the tribunal, you will agree with the tribunal to a large extent. Now, there's a caveat. As lawyers, we are trained in logic. So it is easy for 2 judges to reach different decisions on the same set of facts, on the same set of law. It is simply using logic. So a judge faced with the same set of facts that the tribunal was faced with, may as well reach a different conclusion from the tribunal.
Okay.
We have to accept that. That is how it is in law practice. So long as you can get your facts and look for a law to rope in the facts, your decision is sound. Now, having said that, you can only agree that the decision of the judge was, the tribunal, was logical. It was sound. For example, one of the prosecution witnesses, the chief prosecution witness, Majodemu
Samuel,
said that his testimony was based on information obtained from some other people. In law, we call it hearsay. Hearsay evidence is inadmissible. It is unfortunate that we have to experience this kind of situations. In this studio, severally, I have said that the problem with the fight against corruption today is not necessarily with the defense or the accused persons, but with the investigative and prosecutorial agencies. They fail to carry out
do a thorough job.
thorough investigation. And when you are faced with brilliant lawyers on the defense side who can easily convince you by logic that a color black is indeed color white, you yourself should also be equally brilliant to also convince us that color black is indeed color black. So when you see a prosecution lawyer incapable of standing up to that test, that standard of the defense counsel, you find a failed case. So it would not help the situation if we fail to dissect it legally.
Okay. Now let me take you from everything you have tried to analyze. Now, tying all of this and, also some reactions that have emanated from this ruling since last week, can we now say that actually maybe there was some foul play somewhere in there? Seeing that, it's about how thorough...
Patience, I have answered your question. I just told you that two judges can reach different decisions on the same set of facts. Therefore, I can safely argue that what happened, even if it exists, may not necessarily have influenced the decision of the judge. Let me give you one example. Section 36 of the Constitution is clear that you must afford an accused all the facilities that he needs or she needs to defend his case. And part of which is that you must take his statement during the stage of investigation. You must obtain his statement, go through his statement, investigate his statement. But in this case, they didn't take Saraki's statement. That is an incurable defect, a fatal defect.
Okay, and that should have actually been called into this case.
It should have been brought and provided.
I understand. Let's go to Ibadan.
Okay, sorry. Okay, go to Ibadan.
We'll go to Ibadan and come back and talk a bit. We have on standby the chairman for Joint Action Front for Oyo State, Dr. Ademola Aremo. Good afternoon, sir. Thank you for joining us on the program this afternoon. Now, the acquittal of Bukola Saraki, mixed reactions have come out from that. As a Nigerian and as a critical observer of what's been ongoing for months on end now on this particular case, did you expect the kind of ruling that came out of this?
You see, I take it with mixed feeling. I wouldn't say I was not really expecting that kind of ruling. I mean, I want us to cast our mind back to the case of Ibori. I mean, Ibori was charged with the charges against Ibori was, I think, over 60. And our Nigeria judicial system did not really find him guilty on any of the charges. So since that time, I don't really think I have serious implicit confidence in our judiciary system. Now, coming to the case of Saraki, you see, I will not really be surprised. There are two things I'm actually suspecting. You see, there might be the case of intimidation. You have a situation whereby, you see, 70 lawyers are actually appearing for someone, and over 10 of them are sons. Of course, I'm very sure. I mean, I mean, that kind of party can actually intimidate any sitting tribunal chairman. Then again, the fact that Saraki himself has said he has no confidence in the chairman of the tribunal, and that there are some charges of corruption against him, I mean, can actually intimidate the man. So based on those two grounds, that's why I say I'm not really surprised at the kind of ruling that was actually given at the end of the day. Of course, I'm not really a legal practitioner. Those who are legal practitioners have said that, of course. I mean, the prosecution, I mean, refused to actually prove the case beyond the court beyond reasonable doubt. But to me, the issue is that, of course, Saraki is not really saying, and has not said, that, of course, those things levied against him are lies. But see, what we do in Nigeria is, instead of really going to the merits of the case, we actually thrive on technicalities. And of course, that was why the case was actually knocked off based on trivialities. So all the things he has been alleged for, if he has actually done them, that means he has actually gone scot-free. So that is what our judicial system is all about. Of course, Ibori, went to the UK and he was found guilty. He even pleaded guilty himself on some of the charges that were preferred against him in Nigeria, that we did not really find him guilty of any of the charges. So that's why I said I don't really have implicit confidence in our judicial system again. I mean, we know our judicial system is, some people have been alleged to be corrupt, and yet, I don't really think that they have been able to prove themselves. So what do you expect?
Would be what does all of this tell you about the present fight against corruption, and precisely what we have right now? The federal government is seemingly losing most of all its high-profile cases. Is it that they're not doing thorough research before they go to court, or what exactly is the situation as we speak?
You see, corruption, the way I see it, is just a class struggle. You get what I'm saying? And at the end of the day, I'm not really a prophet of doom. All those who are led to be corrupt, you are going to see that most of them are going to be left off the hook. Because it's a class thing. That is why they will tell you, I'm very sure there are more than meet the highs behind the scene that is actually going on. And that is why, someone who has resources will not really be able to prosecute a case very well. So that when it now gets to the court of law, they will not be talking about technicalities. And it is these technicalities that they will actually use to knock off all the cases that are actually on ground. It's a class thing. It's a class thing. I've always been saying it. You see, when the airport in Abuja was not functioning, and people had to go to Kaduna, of course, the road was heavily guided. So that, of course, there was really no case of armed robbery. There was no case of kidnapping. But immediately, the airport Abuja has started walking back now. Of course, look at what the road has become. So to me, it's always a class thing. It's a class struggle. That's what I want to actually reduce it to. Because you see, those who are involved are the mighties of this country. And that is why at the end of the day, we have already said corruption will fight back. When you say corruption will fight back, if it's probably a poor man that is actually alleged with corruption, they are going to really speedily, and they are going to really find him guilty. But you see, those who are involved at the end of the day, I'm not a problem with doom. Most of them will be left off the hook. That's what I have to say to that.
Presidential advisor on prosecution, Okoye Ogbonna-Obia, who spoke during the ruling, he said they are actually going to appeal that if they do not do anything, they allow that judgment to stand, it will be bye-bye in the war against corruption. What do you really see playing out if the federal government goes to appeal this case as it is?
I've been told that, of course, because of the kind of level of people we are dealing with, that corruption will fight back. And corruption is, is it already fighting back? At the end of the day, nobody will be convicted for corruption. I think the little we are going to actually do is the money we are actually collecting back here and there. At the end of the day, nobody will be brought to book. That is my conviction. Because it's a class thing, it's a class struggle. If those who are involved now are probably the peasants and the poor, of course, the court will try them expeditiously and they'll be found guilty. But because, I mean, it is the powers that be that are involved in this, at the end of the day, I mean, most of them will be freed.
Former chairman of the Academic Staff Union of Universities in Oyo there. All right, back to the studios. Barrister Ikechukwu Ikeji and Barrister Shaki Romalaja are here. Now, Dr. Aremu brought up some issues. One of them is bordering on class. What he was trying to say is the law most of the times works in favor of those who are up there, you know. And first, let me ask this question. What is the jurisprudence really on false asset declaration? Let's start from there.
I think we should concentrate on the word false. When there's a dishonesty.
Yeah.
My learned friend here said Saraki's statement was not taken. But that should be taken against the background that Saraki filled a form. Saraki filled a form under oath, swore on affidavit, which form, after analysis, is discovered to contain untruths signed by Saraki himself. That is enough as a statement. But be that as it may, you ask about the jurisprudence of judiciary, of trial, of justice. I'll tell you this small story. Then I'll link it to the tribunal.
Okay.
A young man was going to enter the ferry in a part of London. He saw an old man carrying his bag. He ran up to the old man, took the luggage from the old man. The old man was very grateful. They entered the ferry together. They were on to banters and everything. They disembarked. Eventually, they alighted. And the old man was so touched and asked the young man, you are so courteous. What do you do? Oh, sir, I am a lawyer. I'm actually going to appear in your court today. Oh, the young man said, no, my friend. I already like you. You cannot appear in my court
anymore.
Because of what?
There is bias already.
May the Lord bless you. That is the word.
All right.
Because of the likelihood of bias.
Yeah.
What is the bias here? The chairman of the tribunal, Danladi Umar, was a lawyer, a practicing lawyer in the office of the late counsel, Kanu Agabi, to Saraki. Now, it is like the boss appearing before his boy. Who says that what the chairman of tribunal came to read was not written by Kanu Agabi? Who said that it is not impossible? What if we had any decency in this country? If the judiciary had any decency, Kanu Agabi would not have appeared before Danladi Umar. But if that was the lawyer chosen by Saraki, then you check the chairman of the tribunal. Did you not see everything they did to Danladi Umar himself, saying that he himself has cases with the FCC? They brought up all sorts of spanners in the work. So part of their objections went to the Supreme Court and came back and said, go and face your tribunal. That is just one. I hope by now you have not forgotten that a few weeks after Muhammadu Buhari became president of this country, he lamented openly that the problem, the greatest enemy of the fight against corruption is a class thing. You were asking me about the class thing. And what is the class? The judiciary, comprising legal practitioners. Put a beam light, a searchlight on legal practice and judiciary. You will come up with something smelly, something terrible to see. I will again give you an example.
I think we already had a taste of that, you know, with the chief judges, you know, that were exposed a while back. Yeah, so I think we have an inkling.
Again, if we had any decency,
have an inkling.
The gentleman, the doctor who contributed from Ibadan, was talking about Ibori's case. What did we do with Ibori here? Ibori may jolly well be pardoned at the end of the day. Like Alamesia was pardoned. That's for everything. What are we saying? A country, a chief justice of the federation, who said the likes of Ademola should go back to sit. You don't do that. You kill everybody. A man that is tainted, a high court judge, and they're still appealing his case now. Who is that distant lawyer? Who is that courageous lawyer? Who is that lawyer who still has some respect for the practice of law? Wants to go and appear before Honorable Justice Ademola? The NJC destroyed effectively the dignity of the bench. You don't do that. The moment a man is like an indicted worker whose finances have been investigated in the finance department of a company, and after maybe at a particular stage, you now return him. It will influence the judgments. The legs of Justice Ademola have no business deciding any case. Who is that lawyer who we have the confidence? When we know that some lawyers approach this man, they give bribe. So if you lose your case, you will not be blamed for saying, maybe because I did not give any money. Look, I belong to the legal practice. I am privileged to belong, and I know that it's a smelling place.
Okay, let us talk a bit about the main fight against graft there, which is the focus of this entire stuff. A whole lot of people have alluded to the fact that because there's a whole lot of talk about media trial, the perspective of all of that. Right now, it has even done more harm, and damage to the so-called anti-corruption war.
Absolutely.
So in your opinion, do you agree? How would you really say that the EFCC has fared in all of this right now with this?
Yes, it is clear. You see, you have hit the nail on the head. EFCC and all the security agencies engage in media trial. You will be surprised to hear in the newspapers that somebody has stolen $20 billion. But by the time you go to court and you ask for the elements of stealing, in criminal law, every crime has elements. Mens rea, the action itself, and the intention itself and the action itself. Both of them must be there. You can take, but you don't have the intention of taking. It is not stealing. So you must investigate properly. That is where the laziness of the prosecution, laziness of the federal government agencies is making them turn against the judiciary. The judges are not Father Christmas, ladies and gentlemen. The judges, it is garbage in, garbage out. It is what you bring to them that they will dish out to you. You don't want them to enter into the arena of conflict and take the side of either the defense or the prosecution.
They don't go into the investigative part. It is what is brought before them.
And
we understand that.
And that is what is happening.
We understand that, but then isn't there a humane or a moral face?
The moral face, the moral face goes to both the defense and the prosecution.
Okay.
How would you convict somebody, for example, who did not steal, but who is alleged to have stolen? Check your own brother, whom you have been with in the house. You know that he was sleeping in the house by 8 a.m. Tomorrow, somebody calls him in and says he was somewhere committing armed robbery. And you know correctly that he was with you. He
was with me. Okay.
Now,
I get
there's
that.
a moral question on the judge before whom that case will appear. That this man has been accused on the papers that he's an armed robber. So go and convict him, kill him. You, the sister, how would you how would you react to that case? You will know that that man is innocent. That is the question. That is the reason why a judge must be a neutral arbiter.
Okay, now let's look at it from the angle. Sorry to bother.
I have still a lot to talk.
I'm trying to reason along with you as a lawyer. Yes. I'm not a lawyer, but I'm trying to reason along with you, and I'm thinking, okay, for that young man whom the sister can vouch for, you would expect him to have that confidence to come out and say, I didn't do what I'm being accused of. I'm not trying to dodge, But in this case, the elements are different.
No, it's not.
Recall,
okay, let me give you...
Hold on. Yes. If you recall, this case started in September 2015.
Yes.
And the man has explored every avenue to avoid trial.
I was coming to that place.
What does that say?
I was coming there.
Okay.
Severally, the tribunal judge has thrown away all applications by Saraki. I don't want you to sit on my case. That was what Saraki was saying at a point in time.
Okay.
The judge said no, struck it out. Saraki will go up to the Supreme Court.
He went as far as the Supreme Court.
Even the Supreme Court held per incuriam. They held wrongly in calling the Code of Conduct Tribunal as a court, whereas Section 6 did not list it as a court. But that's a different case altogether. The same Saraki will say, no, the way you are going, it looks like it is because I am Senate President, I have got to that seat in a way that people don't like. That is why you are persecuting me.
So he was playing victim.
He was playing victim.
Okay.
He's entitled to play the victim if he sees that he's innocent. Now, he also went on appeal to say that you ought to have written to me or asked me to explain. But you did not do that. Therefore, you are not competent to try me. Strike it out and let us start afresh. That was the ground upon which Tinubu was freed in his own case. The tribunal said no, that you don't need that now, that it is in the substance of the case. They threw it out. He went up to the Supreme Court and came back. All this while he was highlighting very important aspects of fair hearing, that the comments of the tribunal judge has given him away, has already made up his mind that he must convict Saraki. Therefore, he should recuse himself. He should excuse himself. The tribunal chairman still refused and threw away that application. As a lawyer, as lawyers, you have to do that. When a judge you are appearing before has already started lambasting you, has already started telling you, bring the application and I'll throw it out. You know that it's already biased.
It's already a decided.
It's already decided. So, you are entitled to say, please, remove your hand. And if you refuse this or she refuses, you are entitled to go on appeal. That was all that Saraki. And I am not saying here that Saraki is by any way innocent. But the law presumes him innocent. I have written several petitions against Saraki personally. I have files against Saraki. The law, the constitution presumes him innocent, and you must give him the same level of innocence and decency of human treatment that you give to yourself, no matter how you think. The same people who were clapping for the CCT tribunal for throwing away all those Saraki's applications are the same people now coming back now to insult him. They didn't know that time that man worked with Saraki's lawyer. They didn't say it that time. It is now that they are saying it. Now, I agree with the issue of, wait, I want to highlight one section. Section 3 of the Code of Conduct and Bureau and Tribunal Act. It says, and I quote, blah, 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 sub 3, receive complaints about non-compliance with or breach of this act, and where the Bureau consider this necessary to do so, refer such complaints to the Code of Conduct Tribunal, provided, there was a proviso, provided that where the person concerned makes a written admission, underline, makes a written admission of such breach or non-compliance, reference will only be had to the tribunal for the purpose of punishment. The fact of written admission presupposes that you have to accost him with what you have against him. So he has a choice either to admit or not to admit. It is a presupposition of the law that the fact that you are accusing somebody of a crime, you must inform the person clearly beforehand, before even taking him to court.
That this is what you're being
so I'll give him the opportunity to respond.
So in this case, was he not given?
That is what the tribunal is saying, that even if he was given, his statement was not attached to the proof of evidence. And that even the written declaration of access that he signed, they said they brought CTC. Certified true copy, not the original.
Not the original.
If you want to bring a CTC, you have to lay foundation to show that the original is not available.
Barrister Ikeji.
But they failed to do that.
Barrister Ikeji,
So these are issues.
I applaud your deep knowledge, of the Constitution. Thank you.
It's my training. That's how I feel.
Yes, I applaud that. But I am a Nigerian.
Yes.
I happen to be a keen observer of what's been going on. And what this tells me is I cannot trust the judiciary.
Absolutely wrong. And it is my responsibility.
What it tells me.
That is my responsibility to disabuse your mind from that.
Hold
on, sir.
And I'm sure I'm not the only Nigerian who shares
It is propaganda.
It
is propaganda. When the president came out and said that the judiciary is his problem, he is not addressing the issue. Look at the avalanche, the litany of cases that are being lost.
Do you know why I say?
I'm sorry, sir. I'm sorry, ma. It shows you that there is a poverty of investigation.
On whose part? On the federal government.
And there is a poverty of knowledge as well.
There is a poverty of knowledge, yes. Not from the judges.
Because as an ordinary person,
there's a way you present your case. The judge would have no option. He has no escape route.
If you don't present it well.
If you don't present it well, he can escape.
So that means
this is not saying that
if I am innocent as well, if I'm innocent as well, and then perchance my lawyer didn't present my case well, I could be jailed.
You could be jailed. A lot of people go to Kirikiri. My NGO goes
for what they are even innocent.
My NGO goes to Ikoyi prison.
Excuse me. The law should be fashioned in a way where it's more transparent than it is right now.
Excuse me. Go to Kirikiri prisons or Ikoyi prisons. You will see.
I know that.
You see plenty of people who have been convicted, who are innocent. Some people are even there after committing offenses that maybe the punishment is like 6 months. They have been stayed, they have been there more than 2-3 years.
We know that. Now, Barrister Molaja has been very quiet.
And again, I agree with the issue of class. I agree with the issue of class.
So if it were not, if
it's a class struggle,
would it have gone differently?
What is happening is class
Now
struggle.
you are coming to my point.
Now
you're coming to my point.
If it were not Saraki, the Senate president, would it have gone
It would have gone this way.
Saraki was able to afford a very good lawyer.
That's what we're saying. Now, for an average Nigerian out there who might have the same issue, do you understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
But might not have what Saraki has
to
have gotten this kind of ruling.
Okay.
The person won't walk free.
It happens in some way. That's what we're saying.
So that tells me that the law is not fair.
The law is not fair.
It's
You
not
have
fair.
said it, not the judiciary.
The
law, yes, is different from the judiciary. People make that mistake. This is media. I'm using this media to correct that impression. You must separate the judiciary. A judge is not Father Christmas. A judge is what you bring to him or her that he will dispense. Because once he starts dispensing based on morals or based on his own thinking.
Now, I'm happy we've been able to at least arrive at an agreement.
That the law is not fair,
that the law is
law is not moral. If law is
Molaja,
please go ahead and speak.
what are the negative implications of this, especially for a country that is seemingly on the threshold of fighting corruption? What does this mean?
Say,
I want to be put on record.
Yes.
And I want Nigerians forever to remember that I say that the judiciary is not clean. I say there are very bad lawyers. There are lawyers that actually keep pins to criminals. There are members of the bench who are affiliates, who are members of illicit societies. There are members of the bench who take bribe. There are members of the bench who influence clients to change their lawyers, that the lawyers they choose for these clients may not come around to bribe the judge. For this reason, I say the bench, the judiciary, has to be clean.
Well, sorry, if I have to infer from all that you've said, are you saying there could be maybe some allegation or speculation about bribery in this issue?
Already, Sahara reporters have made this claim. Yes, of money being passed around.
Umar collected $2 million. That is the allegation. I'm not part of that. I don't know, but it is in public domain. But what I'm saying is this: why can't we have special tribunals? Why can't we have special courts to do our criminal matters? As a lawyer, I go to court regularly, and I tell you that there's no justice in our courts. Sometimes justice is for the highest bidder. I'll tell you.
So the common man cannot really get justice.
No, we will not make that stupid statement.
Okay.
The common man can get justice, but sometimes the common man is sacrificed because he does not have the money to get justice.
So money, okay, so getting justice now
Listen,
is like relative to
Saraki is ready to fight this case. Remember, just at the stage of you come and defend yourself that they truncated the case, mortgaged the life of the case, and shocked Nigerians. You need to see the caliber of lawyers who are saying, how can you do this? That tells you something.
That tells you a lot.
That tells you a lot about that ruling.
Yes.
At the case, at the stage of a no-case submission, the judge should not go into the integrity of the matter.
But there's no judge in this case. It's just a tribunal.
No, the tribunal chairman is the equivalent
like
of the
judge.
judge. The law forbids him to go into the nitty-gritty of the case. But gentlemen, lady, you are forgetting one thing. You are forgetting that we are saying that we need to put the judiciary. I go before them. I fight some of them. What are we saying? A court in which John Yakub Yusuf, who stole over 3 billion naira police pension fund, what was his conviction? 2 years or 250,000 naira. At the end of the day, the man got away with over 1 billion naira. Is that the judicial system you're talking about that you're so proud of? The judicial system has to be cleaned up. We are talking of a judicial system where a sitting judge who does not sell any other thing, who does not receive any other salary, has over 2 billion naira in our account. Is that the judiciary you are proud of? I'm not proud of that judiciary.
Okay.
If the judicial system is allegedly not doing what it should be doing, what can be done about it?
Great! The National Assembly that should work with the executive, that we should cleanse the judiciary. We need special courts. I have said it.
When you say special courts, can you break that down
simple,
to what
simple.
the layman
For example,
can understand?
there's the Administration of Criminal Justice Act now. Administration of Criminal Justice Act. Our courts are bogged down by the bureaucracy and the antics of the first lawyers. The first lawyers are to be respected. The first thing they go for the jugular of the case. They will waste time. But when the law says this case will be tried on day-to-day basis by a special court, I mean, a court that sits as a criminal court and does not take another case other than criminal court.
Okay.
A court
And looks at cases expedited.
Thank you.
In a fast way.
Expedited manner.
Yes,
That is,
expedited
look,
manner.
lawyers, we take advantage of taking inordinately long adjournments.
Exactly. And that tampers with evidence. It tampers with everything. Yes.
Is it not in this
That's
country
true.
that we witness the case of, I mean, in this world, in this Africa, the case of Oscar Pistorius and the shooting of a girlfriend. Yeah. Like Melania Fresh said here, it's not as if the prosecutors are blameless. Some of the prosecutors don't know what they are doing. You don't go to court if investigation is not completed. Lawyers have cried themselves hoarse. There was something we have been able to deal with effectively. We used to call it one obnoxious practice, holding charge. When they will just stand people up, the investigation is not concluded.
And you just take them to court. Yeah.
You take them to court, a court that cannot even try them. From there, they are taken to prison. Now, if your investigation is not completed, for goodness sake, grant them bail. EFCC is doing that well. EFCC grants what we call administrative bail. Continue with your investigation. What is the joy in rushing to court only to have yourself disgraced? Look at what I'm saying. What judiciary are you proud of? A judiciary that says that identity should go back and sit? No, that judiciary should be cleansed. The judiciary cannot be cleansed without the cooperation of lawyers.
Okay.
Even lawyers, we know ourselves. Some take joy in taking some of this. No, somebody has given this joke. Evans, the kidnapper. Don't tell me alleged kidnapper now, because Evans with his own mouth has confessed. Then people are now saying, you lawyers, some of you go and meet Evans now that will defend you. When we will now come and tell the world, Evans,
okay, fine.
Evans did not confess. It was only after he was beaten, after he was harassed, that he made that statement, the statement that he made. And lawyers,
under Durex. I don't think so.
I still want to hear you talk. I want to get
yeah.
more
And then while we're talking, let's look at the ruling. Yes. Let's look at the ruling again. The chairman of the Presidential Advisory Committee on Anti-Corruption, it says Sage, expressed shock, you know, at the acquittal of the Senate president. And he said it was incredible. That was his word. Incredible that he was absolved. Now, sorry, he's advising the presidency to appeal this. Are we expecting something different, you know, when we appeal this?
I expect Professor Sage to resign.
Really? Why should he resign?
Professor Sage has superintended over a failed prosecutorial system.
How so?
He is a contract lawyer, a family lawyer. Although he has been in the civil society, he's my mentor in the civil society. I've followed him. I follow him every time before he joined the government. But today, he is misleading the government.
How is he doing so?
One of it is telling the government that they should
appeal the case?
Not appeal the case. Okay. That the government should do away with rule of law. He has used several forums to advise that some of their time has come for, even if you are a lawyer and somebody who is alleged to be corrupt commissions you, employs you to come and defend him, that lawyer should go in for it. That is against our professional ethics. No matter how you think or know that a person is guilty, you are bound by our professional ethics to defend that person. That is our law. That is professional ethics. Now, you see, it's not yet to rule for Saraki, because they are still the appeal court and they are still the Supreme Court. I'm happy my learned colleague has agreed to a large extent that it is not only with the judiciary. We are not here defending the judiciary. But the judiciary lambasting is getting too much. It is bordering on propaganda. If you Google me or look through my past write-ups and appearances, you will realize that I have always criticized the judges and most of appointments. I have proffered that judges should not attend social occasions. They should not launch books. Even the weddings of their children, they should not be present.
Seriously?
They should be restricted to, yes, I have done that in several forums. They should be restricted in their social outings. But we must contextualize this. We must put it in context. And in putting it in context is that even if a judge is corrupt, there is a way you will present your case and he will have nowhere to run to. And there's a way you present your case. A corrupt judge would thank you in his mind and heart and help you to finish your case. So that's where you must completely carry the blame and lay it at the footstep of the prosecution.
prosecutors.
That is where the problem. And if you go to magistrate courts and just take 1, 2, 3 days off and visit magistrate courts, where you you have a resident police prosecutor, just monitor him for 2 to 3 days. You will see that the accused persons, sometimes the accused persons come to give them money.
Regularly.
And the prosecutor who should prosecute the accused to fruition will now start sabotaging his case. That is reality. So it exists in the system. It's a systemic thing. How can you? That is where you cannot exonerate the prosecutors that are prosecuting Saraki.
All of us, not just prosecutors.
Everybody,
All of us.
even
all of us.
Lawyers. Let me not go into those details. Let us restrict ourselves to the issue.
The issue for today.
Now, the fact of no case submission, my learned colleague, I'd like for us to have a good grasp of the law. I've answered your question regarding Professor Saraki.
Okay.
The fact of no case submission, when you do not uphold, when you throw out no case submission, you are not entitled to go into the details of the case. A recent judgment of the Supreme Court. But when you accept a no case submission, the Supreme Court has held that you are entitled to say the details why you agreed with the no case submission. And that was what also happened in Justice Ademola's case. It's a principle of law. So what the tribunal chairman did is within the presence of the decision of the Supreme Court. So let's get that clear, that he's very much within his legal rights to do what he did by explain. If not, by today, you would hear that he has been suspended by NJC or something. But he did it because it is within the decision of the Supreme Court. Secondly, the issue of special courts. We should not overflog this thing about special courts. Who are going to man the special courts? Are they not the same judges? They are the same judges. They will be trained, but their character will always shine through. It is the issue of character, question of character. How do you build character of people to man the courts? Today, Lagos State has special courts. If you file a criminal court, there are judges specially assigned to those courts. Go look around. You are a journalist. Go and search out. Lagos State has special courts. If you file a case on land matters, there is a special court for it in Lagos. If you file a case on contracts or commercial, if you file a case on commercial law or contract law, there are judges assigned to it. That's why you see in Lagos commercial division, land division, criminal division, family division. There's even, if you file on divorce or custody of children, there are special court judges that have been assigned that role. They go on trainings on that. So the issue of special courts should not be a problem with the situation if you do your investigation properly. If somebody commits a crime and you take time, just like they did in Ibori's case, in Nigerian case, Justice Awokuleyin, a lot of people have been bashing him that he threw away 150 count charges. But in London, in England, how many charges did Ibori agree to? Just a few charges. What did he tell you? He told you that it is either the prosecution in Ibori's case was also compromised with millions, or that the investigation was not properly done, and it was easy for a judge to find a loophole. A judge who wants to find a loophole, or for a defense counsel who is brilliant to also find a loophole.
Gentlemen, we're actually running out of time.
So we have to locate these things very, 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 very clearly. I agree with my learned counsel again, my learned friend again, with the issue of holding charge. And that is one of the problems I have with the Administration of Criminal Justice Act 2015. It has institutionalized holding charge. That is the holding charge that they use to hold Ifeanyi Uba. They will just go surreptitiously to a magistrate court, a malleable magistrate court, and just ask him to give us an order, and they detain the person on 3 or 4 14 days periods, consecutive periods, beyond which they cannot. Holding charge is an illegality. It's an unconstitutional illegality. But today, the Criminal Justice Act has made it legal.
For press of time, gentlemen, just last words, as in what are the take-homes from out of this?
Yeah. I expect the chairman of the NJC to do a rethink, to ask himself, what is the jurisprudence that he is presenting to? If the average citizen of this country says, judges are corrupt, that is dangerous for everybody. If the average citizen says, I do not have any trust in the judiciary, which is what we are happening now, which is what we are having now, that is dangerous for everybody. No matter how brilliant your lawyers are, if the citizens say we do not have any trust in our courts, why do you have lynching, which is to be condemned at all levels? It's because when these persons that are suspected to have committed crimes, if they are released to the police will compromise. If the police don't compromise, the courts will compromise.
All right, thank
so
you,
we need to do a rethink and ask our conscience, are we fair to this country?
All right, thank you so much. Yeah, Barrister KG, in less than 30 seconds, your last words.
My last words are simple. Let us restrict our situations to rule of law, to human rights. Let us ensure that individual rights are protected no matter how we think. What is out there in the media most times is usually not the correct story. And it influences people's thinking. And you see, mass thinking becomes a big problem. For them to refeed themselves and or vomit what they've already been fed with, it will be difficult. So media also has a role to go into investigative journalism and to bring out the two sides of all stories.
Thank you, Barrister KG.
Okay. All right, this is still an unfolding story because we'll wait to see if the presidency will actually appeal this case or not. Meanwhile, Saraki's colleagues, including his deputy